One Punch Man chapter 156 is one of the best chapters I've ever read from the webcomics. Major revelations, amazing sequences, very good fights, and 52 pages long of a chapter. This chapter just has everything we loved about the One Punch Man manga from a writing standpoint. But before we dive in, I wanna remind you that this video is concerning the webcomics chapter, not the manga. I've never done a webcomic chapter review, so if you don't follow that medium, you need to leave not to get spoiled. And with that being said, let's directly dive into the most important thing we got from this chapter. Dr. Kuseno, bro. Dr. Kuseno has been under the radar for many years throughout the series, so much so that the casual readers has never ever suspected him of anything. He's just this really nice guy that is kind of like a father model for Genos, and we've seen him in the previous episode in Saitama's apartment bringing in food as a token of appreciation for Saitama. You get this inner monologue of him caring about Genos that makes you think that this guy cannot possibly be a villain. But this chapter, after Genos overpowers Bofoi's robots, the latter just tells him everything about Dr. Kuseno and how his plan revolves around overtaking the world. This was a huge mystery in One Punch Man ever since chapter 6, and getting a revelation right now is just insane. But anyways, Bofoi also at the start thought that Genos is aware of what Dr. Kuseno is, but he slowly figured out that Genos had no idea and he's basically just brainwashed. This takes us back to the Master Association arc where Bofoi tells Isamu to keep his guard down and not to trust anyone. And because of this, I do think that at that time, this was directed towards Genos and Drive Knight. He basically didn't participate because he thought maybe Dr. Kuseno is going to take advantage of that situation. Just simply crazy stuff when you start looking back, as there is also an instance where Genos defeats G4 and brings back his body to Kuseno, and Kuseno just seemed much more surprised than usual. This is obviously because that robot was not meant to fight against Genos, but rather against King. So Kuseno at that moment had to keep a straight face and act like this is normal. But going back to the chapter, Bofoi explains how he knew Dr. Kuseno way before he met with Genos. He said that he has stolen parts of his technology and has made these cheap knockoffs robots to direct the blame towards him. But the most important revelation made in this chapter is that both Genos and Drive Knight are Kuseno's pawns, made exactly to help him destroy the world. Genos obviously refused to believe all of this, as this is a natural response, remembering Dr. Kuseno's last words. But Bofoi again assures him that he's still alive and that whole charade was an act only to fire up Genos' will to fight. Genos again, as expected, started to question his whole life, and just after he started tweaking, he destroyed part of that site and left that location. I'm guessing he went back to Dr. Kuseno's hideout to confirm if all of this was true. Now regarding Drive Knight, many speculated over the years that he might be the Mad Cyborg, but now this chapter made us question if the Mad Cyborg even exists and if the story about Genos losing his parents wasn't just a manufactured story. Not to mention that now the fusion between Genos and Drive Knight that happened in the manga makes absolute sense, since these two at the end of the day were compatible from the start, being robots modified by Dr. Kuseno. I just love how things are connected to each other, and that's why I love the way the One Punch Man manga is written. But upon Bofoi explaining this whole thing, Saitama was defending the Hero Association headquarters from the robots. And what I absolutely love about this is that Saitama here was not playing. The organization sends this stealth drones filled with enemy reinforcements, and Saitama just jumped and kinda like pushed it to the sky and possibly to space. This new move he used to accomplish that is called the Serious Squad. The organization also deployed monsters in the surface, and these monsters claim that they are stronger than the Monster Association. However, against Saitama, obviously all of this is futile. He also uses this new attack called two-handed consecutive normal punches rather than just consecutive normal punches, but just when he takes care of these monsters, a new robot appears just in front of him. Now remember in previous chapter, Black S tells Saitama that there's this overpowered robot in the battlefield that they simply couldn't handle. Turns out that this robot was actually Drive Knight, revealed to be an AI made previously by Bofoi, but stolen and modified by Dr. Kuseno. Drive Knight tells Genos that previously he had a safety lock to keep Drive Knight from attacking humans, but Dr. Kuseno finally figured out how to reconfigure him and remove that safety lock. That's exactly why this time he's ready to attack Saitama. Now Saitama obviously no-salts every attack because this is Saitama at the end of the day, and this leads Drive Knight to use his best collected data to transform into King, who's obviously the strongest man in the world. But turned out that King Sama has figured out his shtick from the start and gave him fake biological data to weaken him instead of making him stronger. Since, as we all know, King is the one above all, so this was expected from the start. And when this fails, Drive Knight starts after to talk about what justice means to him, and Saitama, as expected, gets upset because killing people based on others' biased orders can never be considered as justice. So what he does after is only natural. Saitama starts hitting him lightly, believing he will fix his malfunction. Since to mankind, this is the most effective to fix any device. Drive Knight tries to evade and starts using his transformations, but Saitama throws him away with a flick on the head, also believing it will wake him up and gets him fixed. Drive Knight gets frustrated and had enough of all of this and decided to use his full power by removing the limits that were set on him, probably by Dr. Kuseno. So I'm not sure what happened right here, but I do think he absorbs every electrical charge from the robots at the site and evolved to a new form called Saitama. So here's the thing, Dr. Kuseno has known about Saitama for a while, but I feel like he always thought that Genos is over-exaggerating about Saitama's strength. Remember in season 1, Dr. Kuseno thought that Genos' new upgrade could make him surpass Saitama. So whatever data he has on him isn't really reliable to gauge how strong Saitama is. This transformation is surely similar to what Garou did in the manga, but Garou's Saitama mode literally copied what makes Saitama this strong. However, what happened next made me jump off my seat, since from this angle it looked like Drive Knight has injured Saitama with that punch, but it turned out that it was only a shockwave that did absolutely nothing but burn off that part of his clothes. He tries after his next attack, which is called Saitama's genocide punch, but Saitama stops it with a headbutt and one punches him in the last panel. Now this chapter is 100% 10 out of 10 chapter, and I think this has the potential to surpass the Monster Association arc. I can't wait for what's going to happen next with Genos and Drive Knight, since I think Drive Knight is still alive and maybe his program was just transferred to another robot. One other thing I'm very excited about is Boros' role in the story. Was he the last trump card Bofoi had against Dr. Kuseno if he truly managed to overtake the world? I'm not really sure, but I'm really excited for what to come. I also love how the organization and Bofoi do not think that Saitama is a huge threat where he can end all of this if he wanted. This whole plan seems like it's something serious, but again, since Saitama is here, nothing is there to worry about. Kuseno is only worried about top tier heroes like Tatsumaki, Flashy Flash, Darkshine, and Blast. Since remember in the manga, Drive Knight was asking Seekingar if Blast would make an appearance if things got tough. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more of these One Punch Man reviews. Until next time, please take good care.